Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Strikeforce Rousey versus Kaufman, which can happen on August 18th on Showtime. 3 women's fights are on this card. Also get to see like Jacare, Tarec, Saffiedine, LSP, Sayers. So you got a pretty decent card going on here. I generally like Strikeforce cards. This is no exception. It looks like a pretty solid card. Okay, let's get right to it. Ronda Rousey fights Sarah Kaufman. You know, the funny thing about this fight is when Rousey was just coming up and Kaufman was champion, I was like, oh man, Kaufman would beat Rousey, you know, so easily. She has good takedown defense. You know, she throws straight punches. She's really technical. You know, she has a good sprawl. You know, it wasn't until, especially after the Miesha Tate fight, that I was like, nah, I think Rousey's going to beat her in the way she usually beats her opponents, to be perfectly honest. Stylistically, I mean, this is a tough matchup for Rousey. You know, Kaufman generally stands up, is more of a, you know, there's more kickboxing. She throws like a lot of like 1-2s and like inside leg kicks. The one time she lost though was by armbar, coincidentally, by Marlos Kunin, and Marlos from Marlos's back too, you know, into guard. So it doesn't really bode well for Kaufman. I know she's supposed to be a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. But Kaufman, sometimes I see things here and there that make me think that when the fight happens, she becomes a blue belt. Against Alexis Davis, when she was taken down in the 3rd round, Alexis had side mount. Which way does she turn? Away from her opponent instead of you know, to try and get out of it. And that's, you know, I learned that really early on, to don't do that. You know, you gave off your back, you leave yourself more exposed when you do that. And then, you know, just things like that. With Rousey, I mean, 5-0 undefeated record, 3-0 amateur record, all wins by 1st round armbar. She's Olympic, bronze, medal, you know, judoka. Her clinch game is nasty. Her arm bars are just insane. I mean, she seriously dislocates arms, you know. Julia Budd's arm, you know, dislocated, you know. Miesha Tate, dislocated. One thing about the Tate fight I did like, and didn't like about Rousey, though, is when Rousey was getting hit, I mean, she doesn't look comfortable on the feet yet. So it's really questionable about whether she can take a hit or not. You know, it's, you know, she says she can. Her coaches say she can. But, you know, what are they going to say? I mean, seriously. I mean, I don't think they're going to say anything but, like, oh, yeah, of course she can take a hit. Of course this. In the gym, she looks great. You know, it's like, you know, that's the other thing, too. It's the gym. You know. Nonetheless, though, I mean, one of Kaufman's big problems is, like, after she strikes, she does tend to clinch with her opponent. That's just going to play into Ronda Rousey's game. One thing I'm not big with Rousey, she really does force the clinch a couple times. I think that she'll be able to eventually take down Sarah Kaufman. I think lesser, you know, grapplers have been able to take down Kaufman. I think Baszler did. Alexis Davis managed to. So I think that Rousey's going to be able to take her down. I also like Rousey's transition game on the ground. She's really good at transitioning to dominant positions. She's also really flexible. You got to really see that in the Miesha Tate fight. And I just think that this fight will be Ronda Rousey. I don't know if it's going to be 1st round armbar, but I think Rousey's eventually going to get it to the ground and is going to submit Kaufman. That's Whether it's the first round or not, it's really tough to say. But I think eventually the fight will be Ronda Rousey by submission. I'm sure she has more than an armbar. I know I do. I'm pretty sure I also practice like Camaros and stuff like that. She probably has more in her arsenal, but like she's just able to find those armbars so well. So yeah, Ronda Rousey should be able to win that one. Okay, next right after that we have Ronaldo Jacare Souza versus Derek Brunson. Brunson's a good prospect. He has really strong wrestling. I believe he's training at Greg Jackson's. His stand-up's improving. He just had his first loss against Kendall Grove. He took the fight on short notice. But Jacare, the ground is his game. 12 of his 15 wins are by submission. And his stand-up's improving a lot too. He's just showing improved stand-up. He still does a lot of overhand rights and whatnot. You see, it's a little more of his kicking game. But, with Jacare, you know what you got with him. If he takes you down, you're probably going to either, stay down or get submitted. It's just, that's the thing. Jacare has good overall takedowns as well. You see him use some diverse ones. A lot of trip takedowns. He does have a judo background. I think he's a judo black belt actually. And the other thing I've seen him do, like the ones he did on Robbie Lawler, were like double legs. But they were kind of strange because they weren't. His head was positioned more in the center of his body instead of like the side. So it was a bit different than your traditional double leg. Of course, Brunson though, he's a good wrestler, so it's really hard. It might be hard for Jacare to take him down. And Brunson could potentially take Jacare down. Like I said though, Jacare's world is the ground. So this fight has the potential to be more of a stand-up fight, possibly. I've seen Jacare take down like Luke Rockhold, who's a very good wrestler in his own right. Of course, Rockhold was able to get back to his feet every time he was taken down. But Souza has taken down some pretty good wrestlers before in other fights. So yeah, and in the stand-up, I think that Jacare is ahead of I think he's ahead of Brunson, to be honest, in the stand-up department as well. Both these guys are still improving in that aspect. I've seen a little more gains in Souza's stand-up game than Brunson. So I go with Jacare to win that one. Okay, next fight after that, you have Lumumba Sayers versus Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith is he's pretty tall, 6'4". I believe he fight at middleweight. He's only 24, but he has like 16-8 record. He's a finisher. 8 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. But like all of his losses are by finish also, where it's like 6 losses by KO or TKO, 2 losses by sub. I want to say I saw Anthony Smith against I want to say it's like Amagov or there's someone else that I see him fight. He looks like a serviceable fighter. But I liked what I saw from Lumumba Sayers, especially in that one fight. Not his last fight against Smith, but the one against Antoine Britt. His boxing was really good in that fight. He showed some one-punch KO power there. I like how he throws combinations too, and his ground game's good as well. 5 of his 6 wins are by submission, actually. So yeah, I think Lumumba Sayers is gonna win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have Roger Bowling versus Tarec Saffiedine. I like both these guys actually. As far as who I think will win, though, it's going to be Tarec Saffiedine. I like his kickboxing. It's really technical. That's the thing. He's not like... For a guy with such technical for technical style, he only has 1 KO to his name out of 12 wins. I think with Saffiedine too, he's improving a lot. Against I believe it was Tyler Stinson. You got to show more, see more of his offensive wrestling as he was taking them down, especially in the 2nd and 3rd round. And Saffiedine's showing some good takedown defense in general. You saw that against like Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley had a really hard time taking him down. Of course, he trains at Team Quest, so he's probably definitely working on his wrestling there. But yeah, Saffiedine's a prospect I've always been looking out for. Roger Bolden's a good prospect in his own right. He's really aggressive. He's always pushing forward. He kind of has some cardio issues though. His only 2 losses are to Bobby Volker. His wrestling is strong. He didn't seem that starting off his back though against Volker. And he's a guy that can kind of get reckless. I like Roger Bolden. His style of fighting. It's fun to watch. But I think Tarec Saffiedine is just a little too technical, and I think he'll be able to really, I guess, I don't think Roger Bolden's going to be able to like overwhelm Saffiedine. I think that Saffiedine with his kickboxing and his improved wrestling and just overall well-roundedness will be able to beat Roger Bolden. Okay, next one after that, we got TJ Cook versus OSP Ovince St. Preux. Cook, he likes to stand. 9 of his 12 wins are by KO or TKO. 4 of his losses are by submission. He does have some good striking, but OSP, he's just a natural athlete. 29 years old, big for the weight class. He's shown good ground and pound in the past. His striking's improving, but with OSP, it's a lot of what gets him by. I think personally, and I like the guy. I'm a fan of the guy. Is his general athleticism. He's not like great at any one aspect of MMA. But he is good everywhere, just not great anywhere. But he's an athletic. But he's also just a really athletic guy, So, but yeah, I have OSP winning this one. I think striking exchanges should be pretty interesting. But if OSP takes it to ground, I think he can maintain top control and unleash some ground and pound once he's up there. Okay, on to the prelim cards. This one's kind of a head scratcher why this is on the prelims. Julie Kedzie fights Miesha takedown Tate. Miesha is a former Strikeforce bantamweight women's champion. She's in one of the more higher profile fights that Strikeforce has had as of late against Ronda Rousey. Stuck in the prelims, though, which is kind of weird because there's challenges out there for Rousey, but I think sooner rather than later, Tate's, if she keeps winning, will more than likely fight Ronda Rousey or whoever the champion is again. Julie Kedzie though, 16-10 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. She has 6 losses by submission, and the last time she's fought was against Alexis Davis in June 30th, 2011. So she is coming off a 1-year layoff. Trains at Jackson's. She does have some good striking. And the thing is also, she's been doing a lot of commentating work for Invicta. So, I think she's a great commentator. She's a good fighter as well. But I think Miesha Tate should be able to win this one. Especially with Tate, her striking's not that great. But it's mainly her wrestling, her top control, and her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That should be able to help her win this fight. I think Miesha Tate's going to win this one. Next fight after that, we have Bobby Green versus Matt Ricehouse. This one's actually tough for me to call. Ricehouse, last time he fought, Geez, was on the undercard. I forgot against. I think it was against a jiu-jitsu guy. I forget his name for a second. But Ricehouse is 6-0, undefeated. 2 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. His most notable victory is against Ryan Couture. He managed not to get taken down, managed to beat him up on the feet. And he's only 25 years old, you know. This is a guy that's kind of been, you know, flying relatively under the radar. Bobby Green, though, also 25 years old, but a lot more experience. 18-5 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub. He's on a 3-fight win streak. And he's just a generally well-rounded fighter. He has good striking. You know, geez, I think his fighting style is like street or something like that. I think he's the one, or thug, or something to that extent. I think. I'm not too sure. But, you know, he's just generally well-rounded. You know, he has good stand-up, good wrestling, you know, and good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You know, almost as many wins as by KO or TKO as he does by submission. I'm going to go with the more experienced fighter here in Bobby Green to win this one. Sometimes he's kind of tough for me to call, though. And next fight after that, Adlan Amagov fights Keith Berry. I always make the joke about Adlan Amagov because he's the guy that lost via flying teabag from Robbie Lawler. I know it's a knee, but like it's the knee like grazed him, and then he got teabagged right after, and that seems to have hit him. With Berry, 11-9 record, he definitely likes to stand. 7 of his wins are by KO or TKO. 5 of his losses are also by KO or TKO, though. He's only 24 years old, but it's kind of worrying that he's won only 1 of his last 5 fights. Amagov, you know, he has a solid base, actually, but he does have good striking and some power in his strikes as well. My only concern with him is that he does get reckless in the stand-up. Otherwise, he is a good fighter and still a prospect to look out for. I'll go with Adlan Amagov to win this one. Okay, and finally, another women's bout at 145 pounds. You don't see a lot of those in Strikeforce because they only have like Julia Budd, you know, Germaine Randamie, Cyborg when she's not suspended, and Hiroko Yamanaka. And I mean, that's it. That's the 145 pound division. So yeah, Germaine Randamie fights Hiroko Yamanaka. Yamanaka is like 33 years old. 2 of her out of 12 wins, 2 wins are by KO or TKO, 2 of them are by sub. Germaine Randamie, she's still new to MMA and definitely needs to get more well adjusted to it, especially the grappling part. She has a 2-2 record, 1 win by KO, 1 win by decision, 28 years old, world kickboxing champion. Her Muay Thai is just really strong. It's really good knees, but she's still very weak on the ground. Nonetheless, I'm still going to pick her to win. I think she'll just beat up Yamanaka on the feet. I'd like to see Randamie versus Cyborg just because, like, they're both crazy looking females who like to stand and just throw. But Randamie, like, she does have some pretty weak takedown defense. She didn't seem to be able to defend a double leg from Julia Budd. Didn't really seem to know what to do down there a lot of times. But I don't think hopefully it won't be too big of a worry for her. But yeah, Germaine Randamie to win this one. And that's pretty much it for my predictions for Strikeforce Rousey versus Kaufman. If you have any comments, just leave them below. That's it for MMA for you. Thank you very much.